the advice from the Corporate Governance Council on the intention to appoint the members of the SBOD is to be shared with Parliament by the Corporate Governance Council. Next question, the reason there was a need to reappoint. The reason to reappoint the members of the board is mentioned in the intention letter to reappoint the members of the SBOD. In advice from the Corporate Governance Council, and was well in the national decree by which the members are reappointed. The reason stated in the intention letter is, for sake of continuity, it's important to continue with a majority of the current supervisory board members. In the advice from the Corporate Governance Council, it is stated and confirmed continuity of the business proceedings of a SBOD is a key factor which must be seriously taken into consideration when replacing the supervisory board members. And in the national decree, it is stated that from the point of view of the continuity of the supervision and maintenance of the substantive knowledge about current matters, it is in the interest of the Cadastre and Land Registry that the majority of the members appointed as of March 30th, 2023, of the 5 members remain. So whether a recruitment procedure is started in a timely manner or not, continuity of a supervisory board is of key importance. This is the reason why the reappointment are qualified by the Corporate Governance Council as a key factor when replacing board members. This is the reason why this is possible according to the statutes of the Cadastre Land Registry. Next, the question was regarding the CFO and COO. In August 2023, the Cadastre Supervisory Board made a decision to recruit a director for the finance for several reasons. As per Article 5, Section 1 of the Articles of Incorporation, it is stipulated that the foundation must have a minimum of 3 management board members, and at this moment, there's only 1. Given a significant financial transaction between the Cadastre, the SBOD deemed it advisable to distribute the responsibility and ensure timely access to information. There is currently a lack of oversight and control mechanisms concerning the allocation of financial resources. The finance director will provide that essential financial oversight and expertise to the managing board, which is presently lacking. From a responsibility standpoint, having multiple managing board members allows for vacation time to be taken. Currently, the managing director has indicated an inability to take any vacation, posing a managing concern risk in the event of a managing director falling ill. Ensuring proper supervision and management continuity is crucial for the success of any operation. It is important to note that the current managing board is hesitant to hire a director of finance due to concerns about its impact on the budget. However, the finance director can focus on identifying key revenue streams and implementing cost-cutting measures. With this responsibility dedicated, the managing director can concentrate on advancing the company to the next level. Now move on to the questions posed by MP Christophe Emmanuel. The next question was regarding the constitutes of the central bank, to the dividends given to St. Martin. How does it work? The dividends are distributed in accordance with Article 40 of the Central Bank Statute. Dividends is a distribution of a company's earnings. In 2019, we received 600,000 guilders. However, no dividends were distributed thereafter due to the absence of subsequent profits.
For all of life's twists, turns, and defining moments, RBC is a blend for all of you. SXM, your social and health insurance is SXM, your social and health insurances.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SZV is cardless. Request your My SZV account today and enter the virtual office of SZV. Go to szv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
Firstly, there are also some matters that the minister has not addressed and questions of mine that he has not addressed, and that is, for example, the entire matter pertaining to lottery fees and whole accrual basis and what was received, etc., etc. It's the financial part of that and the budgetary part that the minister had given an answer on previously, but has not addressed my questions about how realistic it is to keep mentioning 3 million plus for lottery fees when the actuals show differently. The matter, Madam Chair Lady, I continue on the issue of Winair and the fact that the government, albeit that it's very sensitive, they had a valuation done a couple of years ago, but still the question remains, so on what part of a vision or share sale is the 13.4 million guilders based? So that, to me, shouldn't be a confidential issue. You put it in the budget. You're asking Parliament to approve a budget that has that included. So if the minister could go a little deeper into that as well. Madam Chair Lady, I asked a question regarding the withholding of tax and outstanding tax from pensions of pensioners. So from SZV pension that is paid, and the fact that there was an understanding with the receiver to do so. The Minister of VSA responded but said that he could not give any more information than what he gave yesterday because the finance minister would tell us if that practice has stopped. VSA minister confirmed that, and the fact is, how are we dealing with the agreements that pensioners had to sign that made these deductions possible in the first place? So if the Minister of Finance can now respond to that question. Madam Chair Lady, I asked and did not hear, and I think it would be of the Minister of Finance, albeit it's a personnel thing, and that is the issue of the increase in vacation allowance that is in the budget currently. And my question was, if the law, the national ordinance that needs to be passed to increase the vacation allowance, if that is not passed in time for the paying of vacation allowance, which usually happens in June, will the government still continue with the payout on the basis that the amounts are budgeted? That was my question that has not been addressed at all. And I asked the Minister of Finance if my questions regarding EDC will be provided by the Minister of TIA. Thank you, Madam Chair Lady.
The Minister, a question regarding the budgeted revenue, the increase, right? So the Minister basically gave me the breakdown of it. Perhaps I wasn't clear, so now let me just kind of zoom in a little bit. So part of the 58 million revenue increase in the budget 24 versus budget 23 includes, like the Minister said, tourist tax of 9 million, turnover tax of 9 million, payroll tax of 6 million. What I was after is to get an idea of what was happening in the link with maybe perhaps TEAT of why turnover tax would be 9 million higher and why payroll tax would be 6 million higher. Turnover tax might be because, okay, maybe more compliance, we collected more from people. But payroll tax, I was after, do we have new jobs? Do we have new industries? Is there a new market that happened here or just an increase of it? Do we have new hotels? The reason that I want to zoom in on that is because we're not very creative in how we go about taxes, right? We're not creative at all. And the point is that we keep going back to the same people to collect taxes. So is the payroll tax additional revenue of 6 million related to us taxing our people more? Is the turnover tax meaning Are you going back to the same people? I just want an understanding of that, because I think it is closely linked with the Ministry of TAYAT. If you can tell me that we have a new industry, because it's a lot. 9 million, 6 million, it's a lot. So I want to know, what is that figure based on? Is it on something that is new, that is tangible, or just more collection? I need an answer on just to understand the rest of it, because tourist tax, I can tell you, that for me is not very realistic because of the fact that the law isn't passed for it yet. So if I have to compare tourist turnover, payroll and turnover is more likely to actually be accurate as opposed to tourist tax, because it doesn't exist. So it's like, like we used to use the term of fresh air invoicing. So it's like fresh air revenue generation. Thanks, Madam Chair Lady.
I am confused. So I wanted to put a halt to something, Madam Chair. You are telling me, and this is what the minister is saying, that the central bank is a private independent entity, and so is the World Bank. The World Bank, yeah. But the Central Bank of St. Martin and Curacao is an independent entity. Madam Chair Lady, I would like the minister to clarify that. Because the minister walked in here and said, we got dividends of $600,000 in 2019. Now that we are supposed to help with this ANIA thing, to pay off ANIA, we're supposed to be getting dividends of about $4 million that they will take a share from. They will take a share from that to go to the payments of ANIA, and then we will get the balance of it. The minister knows all of that because he's the boss. The central bank has two bosses, Madam Chair Lady. The Minister of Finance in Curacao and the Minister of Finance in St. Martin. He can explain everything of dividends, how much we're supposed to get, how much we get the last time, how this is going to go, how ANIA going to get the money. All of that he can explain, but he can't explain if the World Bank is paying rent. How you can't explain if the World Bank is paying rent inside of the central bank? How? You can't pick up the phone and call and ask them, Madam Chair Lady, if you don't know, say, I don't know. But don't say that it's an agreement between two independent companies. No, don't do that. We own the central bank, part of it. But how it is, you can tell us about GB. That's an NV, cadastre. You can tell us about all those other NVs. But the central bank, all of a sudden now, is an independent company. Wow. Selling off our gold, all those sort of things. The minister could explain that, could. But you can't explain the simplest thing. If the World Bank would take up office inside of the central bank here in St. Martin, if they're paying rent. Just to pick up the phone, dial 54, whatever the number be, the central bank, World Bank paying rent, how much? You can't get an answer? How is that possible? Madam Chair Lady, I would like the minister to explain how it is. He, as one of the bosses of the central bank, don't know if the World Bank is paying rent or it's just that he can't get the information. You can't come and tell me it's two independent companies. It's unacceptable, Madam Chair Lady. Thank you.
On a question of mine, the minister answered, there will be no increase in bank license fees or the intention to increase bank license fees. Madam Chair Lady, I would ask you to direct your attention to page 4 of the explanatory notes that we received from the government. Fees and concessions. And in order to make my point, I need to read what the government presented. First of all, we received a table in which fees and concessions are estimated 54 million in 2024, 56 million in 2025, and 57 million in 2026. Explanation on the fees and concessions, and bear with me, Madam Chair Lady, state, in discussions with the harbor, it has been indicated that dividends can be paid from 2024. The exact amount is not yet known. However, the government is taking into account in the multi-year forecasted amount of $2 million for 2024 and a slight increase in 2026. It is expected that more investment could pay dividends in the future, but currently it is not known from when. The government's dividend policy has already been sent to all government entities, and now an increase in banking license fees has also been taken into account. An increase in banking license fees has also been taken into account. And that paragraph concludes with, in the assumptions, these fees are also directly linked to an increase in economic activities. If the minister can explain, it is not the intention to increase bank license fees, and the statement on page 4 of the explanatory notes from the government of St. Martin.
Your social and health insurances. Your social and health insurances.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
Your social and health insurances. For all of life's twists, turns, and defining moments, RBC is a blend for all of you.
And not finance, that's TIAT. The question for MP Sarah Scott Williams regarding last comment about the fees. So what is mentioned there is basically due to more economic activity, we expect to collect more on the fees, not that there is an increase in the fees. MP DeWeaver regarding the TOT and payroll tax being more accurate. When it comes to especially payroll tax, we look at the efforts we've made over the last, especially 2 years since the pandemic, in terms of enforcement, right? We've seen a significant increase in, let's say, the casinos, in the RF Park and other areas, including payroll. If we have proper enforcement, right, we will expect to see more revenue there. We've had even recent complaints. I'm not going to be very specific on areas where individuals from certain establishments are complaining that, hey, out of the 20 employees here, I'm the only one registered, right? So again, lack of enforcement in certain areas, and an increase in enforcement, we expect to see an increase. Yes, for example, in 2022, we had 100, and these are the actuals. In 2022, we had 143.5 million guilders, and we look at 2023, when we increased the enforcement, it went up to 164 million, which is a big difference of close to 20 million guilders. So again, from the Ministry of Finance, we continue to stress to all other ministries on, hey, this is a scenario, and as you mentioned before, we can't continue to squeeze the same people, right? But we have to get the money that is out there, hold them accountable. MP Manuel, so we did not say that we don't know if the central bank is paying, the World Bank is paying rent. Yes, the World Bank is paying rent. And we'll dig a little deeper on potentially the amount. And MP Sarah Scott Williams, so we missed the question, the lottery fee, initially, so we'll have to look at those. No, yeah. And the question regarding SZV, we'd like to note that the receiver's office never has such an agreement with SZV, through you, Madam Chair, and neither is it a practice that takes place. And for further clarification, the ROV refunds is applied to tax debt and vice versa, not pension.
My first questions were from MP Akeem Arundel. It was, I observed the Christmas time there were a lack of Christmas decoration. Yes, the roundabouts were decorated, but I believe as government we should put more funds towards increasing the Christmas spirit on the island. Definitely me as the minister, I do agree with the Christmas decorations. They are much needed. We are definitely enhancing the Christmas spirit within the community if we do so. The department is working on ensuring to have more decorations this season coming up and to be better organized in a timely manner so we can look just as good as the neighbors on the front side and how they have done it in 2023. My next questions were from MP Kevin Mingret. Could each ministry provide a current update on the status and percentage of the final commitment fulfilled for all the capital expenditure projects? We have the marketplace, which is the rebuild of the marketplace. 606,420 guilders has been committed from the 2.4 million guilders that was amended in the CapEx in budget 2023, of which we had 2.4 million guilders for projects. 6 replacement vehicles. The facilities has taken over the procurement for all of those vehicles, and they are busy right now finishing that up. The MDS and the SMCCA building. The plans for the building are completed. The airport is busy designing and designating the property for the building. The drawings for the building and the estimates were completed by the NRPB. That information was used for submission in the budget estimates. Equipment for the MDS. This has not yet been procured and we have not started yet on this. We also had some funds from the amended budget CapEx from 2023 which were used for intellectual property for the STB, which are the research and development for the tourism master plan and a third party to assist with the setup of the STA. This project has not yet started. It requires action from the decision makers on the way forward. We have the branding media marketing 3-year contract. This has been 100% completed and paid. We have the website development 3 years contract. This has been 80% completed. We have the branding and marketing accessories. We are developing presently a tour and to do the public tender announcement. Direction and border signage. This is busy with VROMI. Initially, we're having meetings with them, the infrastructure department to start the process on this interministerial collaboration. This is to have logo and signature at the borders, key locations, directional signatures, which include beaches, districts, hospital, port, and airport, etc. Another project is the Smart City Interactive Map Kiosk, which is planned for 6 locations throughout town, which is the Greenhouse, the Captain Hodge Wharf, the Walter Plans, the Port of St. Martin, and then we also have the Simpson Bay area and the Harold Jack Hill and Cole Bay. These will be interactive maps that you can go to and you can see different locations in the island and get information to know where your next destination might be. This is 25% complete. The Wheelchair Accessibility Program project. This is another one that we're busy working on for 2024 to 2025. This project has not yet started. It's in discussions as we speak. The beautification of the Phillipsburg areas, the alleys, the murals, the greenery, recycling, etc. Benches, collaboration with Be the Change Foundation. This has all been 35% completed and is still in progress. We have developing agriculture farm, the table. This we need to see what is needed to determine the budget. Pilot program, spaceless garden, cruise and stayover passengers can experience. This has not started. Several visits and talks have taken place to start the establish a plan of approach. The Blue Flag Green Key program. This is in collaboration with EPIC and VROMI, and the hotels and restaurants and beaches are audited based on the criteria and policy for good management of our beaches. This has also not yet started. I move on to the questions of MP Melissa Gums. Environmental notes. Beach access and safety. How do TIAT policies and the policy on beaches and other containers and on beaches being operated? How are both ministries, VROMI and TIAT, working together on the approach? Both ministries have consistently been involved in one another in the development of updating the policies related to the issuance of permits, licenses, and rental agreements. Additionally, the Ministry of TIAT is in the process of updating its beach policy, which is to adopt and broaden the scope of the policy to include more elements on the beach access, safety, and environmental protection. VROMI is included in this process. The intention is to have a closer interministerial cooperation to ensure that one ministry is not taking decisions without consulting the other ministry when it pertains to matters falling under the shared responsibility of both ministries. So for example, in the past, someone would come to TIAT and request a business license. TIAT would issue it without checking with VROMI first, basically. So they would have a business license, an operational license, basically leaving VROMI in a predicament that they have nothing else to do but to issue the okay for them to get that spot because they already have all of the permits and licensing. Now, how that is done, before any operational license is given, we check with VROMI first, we make sure that the space is available, is adequate to do whatever it is, and then we continue with our process. So we don't jump the gun anymore, it is done in a more step-by-step interministerial. My next questions were from MP Grisha Heiliger Martin. The throughput fees and its price. Have there been any escalation of the throughput fee and no increase in the fuel clause? Why has there been a claim that okay, this is about the throughput fee. I think the way that they wrote it is a little different, but I have the answer here. The throughput fee from the fuel of the port has indeed not been raised in over 10 years. The port has not raised these after discussions with them to remain competitive with the ship refueling. Also, they have not raised such to avoid any additional raises in, for example, the GB fuel clause. It is true that it is cents on the dollar. It is not a lot of money, so there is no real. Regarding the Met Office and the Civil Aviation architectural drawing funded by the National Recovery Program, could you clarify its relevance to the Princess Juliana International Airport in regaining Category 1? First of all, the Met Office is very instrumental with any airport. Weather-wise, wind directions, a lot of different things play factors, and if the Met Office says no, it's no. If the Met Office is not properly equipped, of course, and not properly functioning, of course, that will hamper definitely the Category 1 status. What also hampers the Category 1 status, although it's not really a question here, but I would like to elaborate on it, is staffing. So the civil aviation, to have 2 inspectors rather than just 1, there's a lot of constraints when it comes to staffing. It's about 50 or 60% of the problem of obtaining Category 1. Me as minister, again, this is something separate to the question, but I have been working with the Netherlands. They have the resources, they have the backup staff, they have the training possibilities, they are very willing, and we have had fruitful discussions to keep moving so that they can help us attain this status back, because it's good for all of us in the kingdom to have that status replaced back to Category 1. Just a little extra insight.